joined by Daniel Calderon, CEO of Alcazar Energy. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Tabitha.
Daniel, let's start off with the reflections of the past 20 years. That's the theme of the Africa Energy Forum 2018. Your take on how far energy has come in Africa?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us. We're fortunate to be here at the 20th anniversary of AEF. From our perspective, the leading conference in the region. And when you look at renewable energy in Africa, it has gone from an expensive alternative, how governments could power some of their communities, to mainstream energy. So now we're in a situation where governments will require $500 billion of investment between now and the next 15 years. And those $500 billion of investments are going to are not going to just power families who do not have power today, are also lower the cost of governments powering themselves, which means there will be more money available for healthcare, for food, for education. So we find that opportunity extremely exciting. We think this is not impact investment, this is good business decisions. And we think it's going to be one of the best investment opportunities of our generation. So we like to build on the success that we have had in Jordan. Our company has become, during the last 2.5 years, the largest renewable energy generation company in Jordan. And we also own the second largest solar generation portfolio in Egypt. We have mobilized about $800 million to those two countries. That's all foreign direct investment. And those are great examples where governments have been able to both lower their cost of electricity, but at the same time bring renewable energy to children and to communities that before did not have it. And we think doing that in Africa is a great opportunity that we'd like to replicate.
You've taken us through some of the achievements that you've seen over the years. Let's look at the challenges that you are still facing, but that you also perceive the sector to still be going through at this point in time.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
The challenges?
Challenges.
Yes, within the sector itself on the continent.
The main challenge for infrastructure investment is that these projects need to be bankable. Every time we invest in a project, we need international multilateral banks to come and invest together in the project with us. And we don't come to a country like Mauritius or Kenya or Ghana and invest for 1, 2, 3 years. We come and we invest for 20, 25 years. So before we invest, we make sure that the law is bankable, informed, that there are international arbitration regulations, that you are in a country where if your project is challenged, there will be a fair court. That for us is very important. And I think that's a challenge that developers have, to make sure that their projects have all the safety that is required for the big money to be able, for the large capital to come to make those projects happen.
Why do you think the Africa Energy Forum is an important initiative for the energy sector in Africa?
I think it's the value of having all the main investors who are able to mobilize foreign direct investment into Africa in one place, together with policymakers, together with the best law firms. That's how you realize how you're going to overcome these challenges. In many of the countries, I was giving you the example of Jordan, which was named by Bloomberg the third fastest growing renewable energy market in the world, only after China and India. When I was fortunate to work on the first renewable energy project in that country. The challenges at the beginning were to explain to the government why the foreign direct investors, the lenders or the equity providers, needed some comfort in terms of international arbitration or otherwise. Once you can solve those challenges, then we can move on to bring the best technologies, the best construction companies, the best equity providers. But I think this conference provides a unique space where you can articulate those challenges and solve them together.
What are you hoping comes out of this conference? This is essentially a meeting of minds, DFIs, public sector, private sector, energy entities, big and small. What are you hoping comes out of this at the end of the week?
Well, look, two things. For us, it's maybe the second most important one is for us. to be able to understand what are the countries that seriously are interested in bringing that foreign direct investment and building a renewable energy base that would create additional employment and so on, so we can direct our origination resources in the right direction. But I would say even more importantly is for the governments to look at some of the stories that companies like Alcazar have to tell. So for example, when you ask me about our achievements, yes, we have invested $800 million in around 500 megawatts of power. That's about 700,000 families that are powered through renewables. But the achievement is that the company has created 4,200 jobs across our 7 power plants. Those, and in addition to that, we have created something we call Alcazar College, because we realized that those jobs often were not going to the local communities, but the construction companies were having to bring human capital, sometimes even from Europe, to be able to build the power plants. So we have created Alcazar College, and what we're doing is we're going before construction starts, and we're spending a little money in training the local communities, so a higher portion of the value of the project is able to stay within the communities. I think that's a great business decision, and later on our plant will be managed and operated by our neighbors after they were trained by us. So you have a good relationship with your neighbor. So that to me is very important, to be able to share those stories, not just how you reduce the cost of power, how you train local people, how you create symbiotic, friendly relationships with the community, so other governments throughout Africa can also become excited and bring that to their own countries, hopefully.
Daniel, very interesting perspectives indeed. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having us.